Okay, here we have a 36-inch Envirofan. This is a pretty major find. Um, it's got a long backstory behind this, but it's a pretty neat piece to have. So this video is probably going to be relatively long as I explain the acquisition of this thing and the work it needs, and what I may do with it. So, what the stupid bug? I hate bugs. Okay, so let's start by taking a look at the data tag. So it's an Envirofan, 36 inches. I don't know how to decode that serial number. If anybody does, please let me know what year this thing is from. So before I go into detail about the rest of the fan, I'll talk about where the heck this thing came from. So obviously, it's pretty dirty. This thing, for obviously many years, was in a trading post at a scout camp that I went to a few years ago. And I have gone back there. The actual camp is like 10 days. But I've gone back there every year. Just about every year, I think. Since I first started going there. Whether that's for one day or, whatever. Anyway, I've come back there and they always had a lot of fans. They have a big dining hall with a bunch of fans like this, much bigger. They have a ton of box fans in like every single window of the place. They have a lot. And it's a run until they quit situation too. Some of these things are nasty and they still use, I don't even know why they run them, because the screens to the windows are so filthy. I don't even think any air is getting through some of them. But anyway, there's those. And then in the trading post, they had a lot of different fans, a bunch of box fans, some pedestal fans, attic fans, and then in the middle there was this fan, and it hung very high up. Anyway, the first time I noticed it was probably the first time I went, and it was running, and I didn't know what it was at the time. I just knew that it was a ceiling fan, and I liked fans, so I took note of it. Anyway, I could tell that it was pretty dusty, and it looked like it had been there for a while. Fast forward to today, I went over there for their family day, and the day where they have all the families come and see the people they want to see while they're at the camp. So I went over there for family day, and I drove by the trading post, and this fan was sitting out on a bench. And I thought, wait a second, that looks like the fan that was installed there. So when I got the chance, I went in there and I looked at where it was installed, and they installed a much bigger fan. I don't know what it was. It wasn't an Envirofan, I don't think. Anyway, the thing was already out of balance, so it was obviously cheaper. But it was a 3-bladed industrial-looking fan. And so I asked the guy, like, is the fan outside for trash? Does it work? And he said, no, it doesn't work. It's out for trash. And I said, do you mind if I take it? And he said, sure, take it. I said, okay. But then, before I left, he went and asked somebody he was working with, and he said, actually, no, you can't take it because it belongs to the director of the camp. And I said, okay. Where can I find him? They said they didn't know where he was. So I went to talk to some other people about where I could find him, and I never found him. The guy's lost. But the people I talked to said I could just take it. If it was really out for trash, I could take it. So I went back, and I talked to the guy again. I said, I talked to these people. They said I can take it, just letting you know. And he's like, oh yeah, well, I talked to the camp guy, and he said you can have it. So apparently I didn't need to talk to them anyway. Anyway, I got the fan, and I'm pretty happy because this is a fan that I remember and use. It's one thing if you get a fan, it's like, okay, that's cool, I got a fan. Or, it doesn't have to be a fan, it could be a piece of furniture or whatever. But it's one thing if you get, an item that you've been looking for, which this wasn't. I like ceiling fans, but this wasn't necessarily something I was actively looking for. However, it's another thing when you get the original instance of the thing. So the first time you ever saw it, and then you actually, years later, end up getting that thing. Not a look-alike, but the actual unit. So this is pretty cool. So now I'm going to go into showing, what's missing, what the heck. Somebody did some really hackery stuff on here, but first, let's just take a look at it. So it's 36 inches. This is what the underside looks like. It is not in the best condition. I mean, obviously it's dirty, but the brass is unfortunately pretty tarnished. And then I believe this is certainly a cast motor, very heavy. As you could hopefully see, it's kind of rusty on the bottom. This thing is nasty, which is why I'm outside. I didn't want to bring this in the house. So, it's kind of rusty. The brass finish isn't in great condition anymore. However, it was free, so I'm not really complaining. The amount of dust that is accumulated on this thing is astronomical. There isn't a whole lot on the leading edge anymore because it's gotten knocked off as I've been moving it around. But this is the top of the blade, and it's nasty. Obviously, that's no problem. You just clean that up real good and look fine again. But the blades are wood. They're not metal. I don't know. This looks like, to me, it would have been an 80s fan. The building certainly looks like it's from 70s, 80s. So, could have been there. So, as far as, it doesn't have the J-hook. I believe what they did is well, the newer fan was on a longer down rod. So I think they took the wires out of here. Obviously this down rod is in varying states of disrepair. So they cut the wires out of here, because there would have been a wire that goes up to the top here. They left the capacitor, and then I guess they made the connection inside the newer down rod from the old fan to the new fan, and then they just left the hook that was already there, because they were intending on throwing this out, so they weren't gonna, But again, it was free. I'm not really complaining. So I need to get, if I don't already have, a hook for this. Both canopies are there, and I gotta figure out what is going on here. I've never worked on one of these before, but I intend to learn. This is the capacitor. So they said it didn't work. Made in Japan. The capacitor looks fine. I'll test it, but I really want to get this thing working. Again, it is impedance protected, not thermally protected. I haven't done any research on this, so I don't really know that much about it. So there's not going to be a lot of information. If anybody who's watching this video knows information on how these work, what it looks like I may need to do to get this going, I would much appreciate it if you would give me some insight, because I'm relatively new to this stuff. So I know how a basic wire connection goes. I don't know I don't know what that little black thing is for, the cube. I've wired plenty of other ceiling fans up before, but I've never worked on one of these. It's pretty stinking cool. Not sure where I'm going to install it yet. Possibly the garage. There's already a fan in there, so I'd have to take that out. Maybe in my shop downstairs. I don't really need a fan down there because it's in the basement, but it would look cool. I don't know. It's just really neat to have the original instance of the thing, so I wasn't going to pass it up. So yeah, if anybody knows anything about this, I'd like to know. I'll do research on it. Watch some videos on people working on these and stuff, but I just really wanted to show the thing that I got, because it's pretty cool, at least for people who are interested in the same stuff that I am. One more thing before I close out this videotape is that I also recorded a video of fans running in the same building. As of now, I don't know which video will be uploaded first, this one or the fans running video, but you can be on the lookout for that as well if you're interested. I showed the box fans. I didn't get the Neil ceiling fan or the pedestal fans because there were a lot of people in there and I didn't want to videotape them without their consent. It's a very small building with a lot of people, so. But I got the box fans on tape, so hopefully you enjoy that as well. Other than that, I'll give it one more look at the tag here. But other than that, that's it. Thank you for watching.